Hello traders, how you doing? Hope you're having a nice weekend. Got a great video for you. I know it's been a while since I've been able to put a decent length video together. I've been very busy with the pro course, as you know. However, I've got some amazing information for you from a professional trader perspective. It's best viewed in landscape mode. So if you get yourself over to IGTV or my YouTube channel and put yourself in landscape full screen mode, that's how you're going to view it best. What we're going to cover today, very quickly, 5-10 minute video, is we're going to look at, I've closed the book for April on MyFX book, so I'm going to show you my verified stats, and we're just going to have a look at them very briefly. And a note, I just want to say, look, you may think that, as an individual trader, trying to obviously give some truth in the marketplace, that I would be happy that I seem to be the only guy out there showing audited returns. And believe me, I want to make it clear that I'm not. It actually makes me very sad. If you think of businesses out in the open marketplace, monopolies are never good, right? At the end of the day, for a society as a whole, it's good to have competition, and it makes me sad that there aren't more people out there showing statistics. There should be, because what it creates competition for you, the consumer, and it's also good for people like me because it gives different perspectives in the marketplace, right? It gives a more rounded industry. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So I just want to make that clear that, it's not something I celebrate, but unfortunately, it's a sad reality that there just doesn't seem to be anyone out there who has any clue what they're talking about. Let's be honest. So I want to show you my stats so you know that when I tell you something, it's from real experience and I know what I'm talking about, and it's actually going to add value to you. So we're going to do that. We're just going to have a, literally a couple minutes go through the stats for the month, about 1,300 pips, so another really good month. And as you know, my dog passed away this month. So it's a really sad month for me. And actually, I only traded about half the business days, but I still managed to create, what I consistently seem to be doing every month. If you look at my FX book for this whole year, I've had one losing day. This month I didn't have a single losing day. However, in terms of alpha generation, profit factor, Sharpe ratios, average wins versus losses, incredibly consistent. My point to that is you don't need to trade every day, okay? I've unintentionally had some time off this month and still managed to generate really good alpha. So there's lessons to be learned from that, and it's important you take that away. So anyway, what are we going to cover today? We're going to be looking at again in landscape mode. So it's not only looking at stats, we've got some great analysis. I'm going to show you what I do is identifying market condition. If you're not able to do this, you've basically lost before you even started trading. You have to be able to identify market condition. If you think about it, supermarkets are a great example. All businesses, they adapt to seasons. They know the market condition. Think about it. If your local retail store, Amazon, Tesco, whoever, if they didn't change their inventory levels for Christmas, how would they run the business? They have to be able to identify when to manage the way that they trade. We have to be able to do that. If you can't do that and no indicator is going to be able to do that, you're finished. You might as well give up and go and do something else because this isn't right for you. But look, at the end of the day, we're all here to learn, and obviously I'm going to try and give you some insights into that. And again, I'm going to show you why that was so important and how it actually related to how I traded in April. I traded April very differently. And then finally, not much needs to be said here because I've pretty much covered it previously. If you can't do these things, you're not treating this as a business. You're just treating this as some sort of gambling, okay? You can't rely on other people to tell you what to do and rely on these lines on your computer screen. You're not doing this properly. You have to start thinking outside the box, and that's how you generate alpha. Otherwise, you're just with the crowd and you're just going to keep losing, okay? And you're going to go in this vicious circle. So let's get you out of that. Let's get on to MyFX book, quickly show you my stats, and then we'll get on the charts. Cheers. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so as discussed, here's the fully audited stats for April, the book I just closed. Obviously I had a good month, I didn't have a losing day, but more importantly, that's not the point. The point is the underlying risk taken. How much was I making for every dollar invested? My profit factor was 4.57. So for every dollar invested, I was generating about 4.5. In any business, that's an excellent return. But my point is, do you know the person teaching you or the person talking to you, what is their profit factor? Let's be honest, it doesn't exist, right? And another thing is I want to mention to you is that's really important to note is not, obviously you have about 20, 21 trading days in the month. Guys, I traded 13, okay? It didn't matter. I wasn't sitting here worried that obviously I had extenuating circumstances with my dog passing away. I didn't stress and think, oh my God, I didn't trade today and, this and I need to be there and I need to take a trade this morning, before work, after work. No, do you know what? If my mind wasn't in it, it didn't matter. Did it make any difference to my results? No, it didn't. So there's a huge lesson there. And then finally, so just to summarize, number of trades taken here, my profitability was around the 70% mark. As if you remember all the videos I show you, I'm consistent. It's about 70% I've accepted. I'm not going to win all the time. I'm not one of these guys that cares if I'm winning 90% of the time. It doesn't matter. End of the day, what matters is what is in my bank account at the end of the month, and that's generating alpha. So that's all I care about. Pips here, 1,290.9. Average win versus average loss. Double the win versus the loss. So again, I'm generating alpha per unit of risk taken. Absolutely crucial that you understand this. The only reason I show you guys this is, look, not for my ego, it's at the end of the day because I want you to realize we're about to go on the charts and what I show you, I know what I'm talking about. It's backed up by actual facts. And, I don't say all these things like drop all the indicators, drop all these rubbish that you've got blinding you because I want to make life more difficult for you. No, by showing you this, I hope it gives you some confidence that actually I'm trying to help you. Someone who's actually doing this for a living, not using all those squiggly lines that, let's be honest, any child can really do all that stuff, right? It's not how businesses are run. And the final point I want to make is, and I say it time and time again, look, I'm showing you over 150 trades in a row, right? You see guys posting these single screenshots. It's absolute and utter nonsense. It means nothing. It's almost like, I always mention the supermarkets, but look, they're a big part of our lives. It's like Tesco going to the shareholders at the end of the month and saying, oh, look guys, we sold 1 packet of crisps this month, but just believe us that the rest of it, we did have business there, but we're only going to show you in our accounts, we sold 1 packet of crisps, so take our word for it that we made money on the other 100,000 products that we sold. It's ludicrous, right? It doesn't mean anything. You've got to be able to see the business as a whole, and that's why I say in the slide bullet point, start treating this as a business and start thinking of this as a consistent set of results over a period of time, because that's the only way you're going to make it in this business. Now, anyway, look, I know you're all eager to get on the charts and see some of the stuff I was talking about in terms of identifying market conditions. So let's do that. Okay, so what we've got here is we've got pound dollar. And as you know, if you've watched my previous videos, I only trade sterling. That's a whole nother video about why I only look at 1 or 2 assets, because that means I can become an expert in those. In my whole 16 years working in the institutional business, I've never seen traders trading more than 1, 2, 3 sort of pairs, composite pairs. Obviously, individual stocks is a different game, but when you're looking at things like currencies, commodities, equities, in terms of indices and global or composite assets, never seen it in my life. So you need to stop looking at all these 10 things, 5 things you're looking at and really start to focus on one. That's the only way you're going to become expert on it. But that's another video. The reality is you've got to be able to identify the market condition. And why do I say that? Because you see, institutions realize that they need to approach different market conditions differently. And I hinted at it where I said, at the end of the day, a business like, I keep coming back to it, but Tesco, Sainsbury's, Amazon, Walmart, whoever it is, one of these big guys, even small shops, when it comes to different times of the year, you can't have the same amount of inventory on your shelves. You're not going to survive as a business. You need to fluctuate that. And and almost trade your business differently. So what I wanted to show you today is just a little bird's eye perspective of how I approached April differently to how I may approach different sort of months and conditions. So very much in January, right, we can see it just literally with our naked eye that the market was very much in a balanced rotational environment, which generally means what? It just means the market was happy. And it's thought that at that area, about 131 in pound dollar, it was happy to transact. So it was very normal for business to keep taking place around that area. So it makes sense for us to fade the edges, right? Because we know the market's happy in that region. So why would we go for targets that are outside of that region? It makes no sense, right? At the end of the day, if demand in any business, if you think of Amazon, if they're selling something for $100 and demand is at $100, it makes no sense for them to shift that. Obviously, if there's a fundamental change in the marketplace, that's different. But that didn't happen. February was very similar. Okay, yeah, we had a tiny shift downwards, but it didn't mean anything. At the end of the day, we very quickly established this range, so we traded it as such. March, we know things changed. Firstly, the fundamentals told us we obviously had the virus starting to spread more, but it wasn't only news. It's also, look, the market condition changed. We were initially trying to find balance, and clearly we broke out of that, and then we went down. Okay, and there are ways, obviously, as I show in my course, how to identify market conditions and trade accordingly. But would you be fading as you were in February? Would you be fading this environment? Now you're going to get crushed. Okay, this is the problem with using technical analysis and indicators. It stops you actually using what all of you have. At the end of the day, human beings were everyone's intelligent enough to start doing some analysis and thinking, a little bit around, hang on, does this make sense to me? Okay, my indicator, which obviously, as you can see, I don't use indicators. To me, they're all nonsense. Because it allows me to actually take responsibility for my decisions and actually add some value, generate some alpha, try and do something that no one else is doing. And that's why I generate the returns I do. That's why I show you those returns, because I show you that otherwise I could just say to you, look guys, I use blank charts, I obviously do analysis, I look at different things that aren't traditional, and you'd be saying, nah, that doesn't make sense to us. Well, actually, that's why I like to show you the audited returns, because actually it does make sense. And one of the reasons I'm able to generate profit factors and those sort of consistent returns for my capital as I am, because I get rid of the junk off my charts. So end of the day, it shows I do know what I'm talking about when I say this, and I'd highly suggest that you're all capable of doing it, but that you start to approach this like a business and recognize that month to month the market is changing. And in terms of April, you see, I recognized very early on, initially we were in a small balancing environment, we broke out, but then as soon as we came back in to this balancing environment, I knew straight away that, okay, we've got either this wider range or we've got this smaller range. The market's not interested in making big moves this month until it changes. I'm not saying that I've got a crystal ball. Obviously, it could start to build some value above here, and I'll change. I'll adapt. I won't tell the market to change to me or my indicator. I will adapt to the market, and I respect the market, and I respect what it's trying to do, and I try to view it from a logical perspective to what makes sense to me, not to some indicator someone's given me. I take responsibility, which I know all of you do in your everyday jobs. And if you want to progress, you've got to take the bull by the horns and really do something different. And this, you've got a magical opportunity to do that. If you just get rid of some of the nonsense on your charts in terms of technical analysis and all these things that really distort it, right? Let's be honest. You come in, you open up your charts, and it's very distorted, right? You can't really think for yourself, and that's what you need to do. So I hope that was useful. It was really enjoyable for me to obviously show you how my month went and why that actually means something and adds credibility to what I'm telling you. And the more people that do this, the better, because then you can actually start to generate some alpha for yourself. If you've got any questions, let me know, drop me an email, drop me a message. Have a great day.